So what's giving you less sleep, working with Tommy or the new baby?
It's a good question. Actually, baby's sleeping great, so I'm sleeping great.
What's it been like working with Tommy?
It's been really good. Tommy's done a great job since he's come in here. Anytime you come in as a rookie, it's a process to learn everything and all that, and he's embraced that process. He's trusted it, done a really good job of, really diving into it with both feet, and it's been the same since he's been here since day one, just ready to go to work.
Where do you view his strengths?
Tommy, he's very accurate, very compact, does a really good job in the pocket as far as getting the ball out, and he sees things really well. Tommy does a really good job of being able to come over to you and explain what happened, what he saw, what he thought. So he does a really good job with all those things.
What's been the challenge of just the upheaval in the quarterback room, just with all the injuries that you've had to deal with, the team has had to deal with going through three different guys?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't necessarily call them challenges. We know, what we're getting into with this. It's always a next man up mentality, and the best thing about that room is those guys all had that since day one. So it's really been pretty easy as far as, not easy in terms of losing guys. You never want to see them get hurt or anything like that. But as far as the next guy being ready, they've, jumped in with both feet, been ready to go. And that's certainly made it enjoyable.
Just mentally, how do you prepare a young quarterback for a challenge like the Cowboys defense?
Yeah, you just go out there and you try to trust your process. You don't change much from what you've been doing with them since day one. It's still football. I know he said to me earlier in the week, same game I've been playing since I was a young kid. So we've just kind of approached it like that way. 11 guys on the field. He knows what they're doing. He knows what we're doing. So just keeping it consistent really for him, I think, is the biggest thing when you're a young player. The more consistency you have, the easier it is for him to just go out there and play.
Is the key to find what he does best in the sense of what plays he'll be most comfortable with?
Yeah, I think that's for really any quarterback that plays. They all have different styles. They all have different ways they want to do things, different ways they see things. So, it's a constant communication process, not just with, Daniel when he's playing or Tyrod or Tommy. You do that after all of their reps, and you kind of get a good feel for them. So this goes back to, OTAs when we first got them here after the draft. What plays do you like? What do you see? How do you see it? And you just build on it from there.
What have you seen from him this week, just in general, as he's kind of taken over those starting reps?
I've seen the same guy that got here on day one, and that he's got a lot of confidence in a very good way. He's got a good way with the guys in terms of talking to them, telling them what he sees, how he sees certain coverages, how he sees certain routes, and really a guy who just goes out there and has fun. He likes to play ball. He loves being on the field. So it's been enjoyable to watch that.
How important is that confidence, I guess, for like a rookie coming in this kind of a situation and to get that respect of teammates and receivers and things like that?
Yeah, I think really no matter what position you're playing, I think it's important. But obviously because, everybody kind of looks to the quarterback on every play. He's the one speaking into the huddle and all that. You got to have it. And Tommy definitely does, which is a good thing for him.
Where have you seen that confidence the most in him?
Just the way he carries himself, Tommy he's not a guy that is overconfident. He just knows who he is. He is authentic. He's genuine. And so that it shows in the way he carries himself. It shows in the way how he is in the meeting room, when he's in the locker room, and when he's out on the field.
Obviously, Evan looks like he's going to miss this week and maybe some more time. How much does that hurt just for him development-wise? He's going to miss this time.
I mean, anytime you miss opportunities, it stunts your development. It's less than ideal, but the guy played a good game, suffered an injury, and he'll be out for a little bit. But I mean, he's been locked in mentally. So I think he's doing the right things from that standpoint. No, he's not going to get the physical reps. He's doing the right thing in the meeting room, just getting the mental reps. So that's the best he can do right now. So he's doing the best he can.
Should Tyree look at that as, hey, this is my opportunity to show these guys that I'm capable of this job?
I mean, I think all the guys, anytime they get opportunity, they understand how precious those are. I don't think this all of a sudden like a Tyler's like, oh, this is my chance. I think anytime a guy gets a rep, at least that's how we handle it in our room. I think all of them realize anytime they get a rep, whether it be, hey, I'm getting a rep as a jumbo tight end, or I'm getting a rep somewhere, they view that as an opportunity that they need to seize. Because these things are so limited in this league. I mean, it's a very what have you done for me lately league, and I think they all understand that.
How has he looked since he came back?
Really good. I mean, he's looked really good. I think he has a different outlook on some things. I think anytime you're in with a team and then you wind up having a change, go to another team, I think you realize too, anytime your status changes, he went from being on our roster to another team's practice squad. I think you start to realize how fickle this league is as well, and you start to realizing how precious these opportunities are. So since he's been back, I think there's been a little additional pep in his step, a little bit more urgency. Even though when he was here, he did things the right way. He acted very professional. I think he just realizes that this thing is very short-lived, and he's going to not let one thing slip by him.
How much does it help that, Justin's back at left guard, right? Obviously, he's played more there. He's probably more natural guard.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, probably admit that he's probably more natural guard as well. That they're back sort of in their natural positions, and you're sort of able to get everybody in the spots where you would prefer.
I think anytime a guy feels like he's more in his comfort zone, or more in a position that fits him best, I think there's a natural I don't want to say relax, kind of comfort zone. They're in their comfort. So I mean, I think there's a little bit of that, but I also think they understand. I think maybe you even asked Justin, who's an 11-year vet, hey, I played played left tackle. I think maybe he has a different perspective on playing left guard now. Maybe some things he needs to do as a guard that can help a left tackle, or vice versa, things like that. So I think that helps him get a better perspective on the position they're now playing. And I think they both admit it was very valuable for them. I think Ben, having played so much center, knows, okay, now going to right guard, here's the things that center has to do, and how can I help John Michael now that he's back, that he has, I know what he has on his plate. Maybe I can help him in certain ways. And there were some things that happened in the walkthrough today that kind of showed that kind of awareness. So I think it's made them better at their natural positions by going and playing other positions.
Obviously, also with Andrew being back, how much better does it make you feel about where you are as a line as a whole? Obviously, Andrew helps a lot.
I hugged him.
What'd you say?
I hugged him. No, you're back. No, anytime you have a player
like this.
Oh, it was. Listen, I got no shame. I mean, I was a full on front to front hug. I even nuzzled a little bit. No, I mean, it's just when you have a player that caliber in their back, it does a lot for the whole offense, not just the room. So I mean, it's good having him back. I mean, he was hard on himself and said, he was rusty. There's some things that he does that are rusty for him that most players in the league is like, that's the best.
Take that rusty,
yeah.
right?
So I mean,
Anything.
but it's good to have a guy not only that caliber but also that type of guy back, feeling like he's in a leadership role again. Andrew is a very conscientious kid, and I should say kid, young man, where it's like, hey, maybe there's some things he didn't say when he wasn't playing. He's like, well, I'm not playing. Now he's willing to say him more now because he is. So I think just having him back in the fold completely has done nothing but help our room. From a playing standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, from his presence in the meeting room and being more vocal in the meeting room, it's all just, it helps the whole room.
Bobby, I know you saw Dallas in the first game. It had weather issues and all of that kind of stuff. How do you help your guys prepare for Micah Parsons?
I mean, he's extremely talented. He's one of the best players in the league. I mean, you do your best to give him whatever tips, whatever kind of mental notes you can on maybe some tendencies. You try to rep at least from what we've tried to do, is rep as many of the really difficult things he does to your scheme. The low-hanging fruit, the things that are kind of, on the lower end of degree of difficulty, you kind of go, listen, that's the easy stuff. Let's deal with nothing but the hardest looks, the worst case scenarios, and that's all we try to do. That way, when they get the worst case scenario, they've seen it enough times where it's maybe minimizes the shock value a little bit. There's certain things he does you can't take away. You can't hey, that's why he's one of the best. You just got to hope to make sure that it doesn't get to crisis mode. That it's not just a game-wrecking situation. So we just try to minimize his effect the best we can. We understand he's going to make a certain amount of plays. We just can't let him make all the plays. We can't let him wreck the game. And that's really the mode you kind of go into. And same way, really, pretty much every week.
Right.
There's somebody on defense in this league.
Yeah.
Just about every. Last week was Max Crosby.
That's
it was it just goes on and on and on. And what you try to do is you try to minimize
Right.
their damage. And that's it.
That's what I was going to say when I talked to Justin about this. he said, well, like Max Crosby last
Without a
week.
question.
So
I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, you can go down the list. I mean, you know, in a couple weeks it'll be the guys from Philadelphia. It's just that's kind of the world we live in.
Yep.
You know, like I said, you understand they're going to make a certain amount of plays. You just want to make sure they don't wreck the game for you. And that's really about it.
What was your reaction to Xavier's comments?
For me, obviously having had to live in a locker room myself as a player, I think when you play a team sport, you try to keep the focus on the team and only bring up positive things about the team, and anything else, you deal with the people in the team. I think the kid was emotional after the game and said what he said. And, I know Wink has talked about it, Dave's have talked about it, and at this point, we're just moving on to Dallas.
You going to be without Adore probably?
You'll have to ask Dave's that's it, or the trainers, whether Dory plays or not. You have to ask Dave's and the trainers.
So as far as moving on, but this is looking forward. Xavier is an emotional guy, and you guys aren't winning games. How do you manage him going forward so this doesn't become an issue that isn't just a one-time thing?
Again, keep everything about the team for all of us. Me, him, everybody else. Just keep it about the team and what we got to do to move the New York Giants forward. That's all I'm focused on.
If you don't have a Dory, how does it affect going and play the Cowboys?
Obviously with what they're doing on offense, you like to be full strength when you play them. You like to have every defensive player you got available, and you can throw it at them, and it's still going to be a long, hard day. If he's not there, we'll get the guys that are going to play, ready to play, and go give them our best shot.
They've been playing. The passing game's been very productive especially the last 2 weeks. What kind of challenge is that? Present to you guys?
Yeah, obviously a lot. Dak is doing a phenomenal job of getting the ball out quick, being accurate. CeeDee Lamb's having a big year, had a big game last week. Like, we will have our hands absolutely full in Dallas.
How do you see Banks going up against Lamb? What's the challenge there, especially for a rookie?
For anybody. Again, he went for 191 last week against a really good defense. Anybody who goes up against the kid he's playing at a high level. As I watch the tape, is competitive and as productive as anybody we've played this year. And again, we will have our hands absolutely full with him and the rest of their passing game.
Is this a good test though for Banks?
A test? A test would be an understatement for what we're all going to face. But we will not back down. We'll go challenge them and go play aggressive and play the way we play and see what happens.
What did you see from Deontay? Obviously, it wasn't his best game against the Raiders. Just what were the issues there?
A couple times, for me with him, just situationally understanding the situation and just little things there that he's got to clean up. He did some really good things, made some good plays, played better in the second half. And so he's just got to continue to, for him, every week I'm just trying to get him to grow a little more, to learn a little more, to be a little more aware, a little more prepared, a little more focused, and keep growing him that way.
You went with Nick McLeod when Adore went out. What have you seen from him?
Well, the thing you like about Nick, he's always prepared. You can put him in the game at any moment, and he will go in and be prepared and know what to do, and he will compete hard, and he's shown to be very productive. When you look at his snaps and coverage this year when they've gone after him, he's been very productive, very reliable.
How much does he help Kayvon?
Yeah, I when you look at anybody affecting the quarterback, if you can get him to move off the spot, that increases the likelihood that somebody else can collect him. So if one guy can get him off the spot, then the other guy wins his rush inside or high, whatever it may be. But getting that quarterback to feel uncomfortable and move, the more guys you can get to do that. And we got one of the best ones in the game inside in Dexter that helps us all. But then having that help on the opposite edge for sure gets that quarterback moving, stepping up into pressure, things like that.
Have you seen the game plan changes, Kayvon? I mean, it's the last 2 years. When Aziz isn't out there, I mean, can you actually see it visually? Okay, they wouldn't be doing this if Aziz was on the field. They wouldn't be doing this to Kayvon.
You know, I think some of it based on how teams protect against us. Teams are getting the ball out quick so fast anyway because of pressure. Like you see Dallas the last 3 times we played them. If you look at their time to throw, you look at all those stats. I mean, it's a lot of quick game. They know they want to get the ball out quick. So I think teams go into games kind of treating us differently anyway. But for sure, knowing, hey, now you got to worry about both edges. You can't just chip one side. You can't just account for one side. Those type of things help us as well.
You mentioned Dexter. I'm curious because you were with the wing previously. How rare or unique is it what he's doing straight at, right over the center, sort of at that nose tackle position?
For sure. I think, in this system, one of the foundations of it is having that centerpiece, having that nose that is a great run player, can make runs cut back. The thing that's really rare about him is it's not just in the run game, having that centerpiece in the middle at nose. He's a dominant pass rusher, dominant run player, and that just opens things up for this system to have a guy that can do that every down all the time. That's something that's unique and special with him.
I know Kayvon, he's not there yet, so I don't want to jinx it, but he's got 8.5 sacks. You guys have never had a double-digit sack guy. Why do you think that's the case in Wink's system?
Yeah, I think that's, some of that's by design where you say, okay, we want everybody on the bus to be able to hit the quarterback, and we send guys from different angles, and a lot of the, the success of those other guys is caused by the attention of those edge rushers, going up the field, working inside, kind of clearing up those pressure patterns so a guy like Pinnock can come in free or whoever it may be. So I think that it's a, strategic thing. Obviously, hey, we'll take as many sacks as we can get from all these guys, but I think it's not necessarily 4-man rush. Hey, this guy's our guy that we're building everything for. I think it's a selfless system for these guys where they say, hey, if I do my job, somebody's going to get home. And I think you see that more and more with Kayvon. He's winning his one-on-ones and he's creating opportunities for others.
He's obviously playing like 98% of the snaps the last however many games. Like, what is your role? I mean, is that your call? Like, who's determining how much he plays?
Yeah, I think that's collaborative based on, his health going into those games and going from there, his impact in certain roles. And if he can stay playing at a high level, which he's been able to do, you love him out there every snap. And I just understand some of that, like the games that he played a really high number, were games where we were getting off the field in 3 plays, 4 plays. So, like, if we can get those 3 and outs, shoot, we'll take him out there every play. Obviously, if the drive gets longer, that's when we might need a blow, and we got those guys we can rely on in those situations.